So today, I'm in a vehicle that I have been excited to get into, and I really started getting excited to get into this guy since the Chicago Auto Show. This is the 2022 Lexus NX 350. I have a lot of cool things to show you. Hey folks, welcome back to techgooch, and today we are taking a peek at the brand new NX 350 from Lexus. This is one of their smaller, I guess, SUVs, and there are several different options that this vehicle comes in. This is the 350 variety, which has a little bit of a punch to it. And the really big thing about this specific vehicle is it brings in the more modern interior that Lexus, I'm hoping, will start bringing into more of their vehicles. It also brings in over-the-air updates to its fairly large Infotainment Center display in the center, and there's just a lot to like about this vehicle. Now, I'm probably not going to hit every single thing because there's a lot of new stuff, a lot of nice things in this vehicle, but I did want to at least try to point on as many as I can while I have my short amount of time in this thing. So I guess buckle up. Now, one thing I will say real quick before we get too crazy into it, this right here is what they call a pre-production model. So there may be some slight differences between this guy and the one that actually you can get out of your local dealership. However, I'm sure most of it is going to carry through, because most of it, I think, is exactly what it needs to be. There are a few things that I'm still not happy with, to be honest about it, that I don't understand why it keeps happening, but we'll get into that. Only a couple. Most of what I found in this vehicle, I have loved. So buckle up. Let's jump in. Now, first things first, let's go around the outside of the vehicle. Let's see what it looks like, because I think it's a very, very aesthetically pleasing vehicle that Lexus has put out here. Now, it has that iconic Lexus grille, LED headlights that work really good. Maybe I'll throw on the lights real quick so you can see with the headlights on. Now, they're not flickering. That's just because of the camera, and if I change some settings, I can probably pull that out. But that said, very, very good looking vehicle. Let's just go around. Now, this does have 360-degree camera system on it, so there is the one up there in the grill right below the logo. That logo as well, it should probably be the radar sensing, and as such as the camera that's up there for the lane monitoring system. Under the mirrors for the other cameras. Now, these mirrors do automatically close when you shut the vehicle off and you leave it. They'll automatically close. That way you don't get your mirrors messed up while you're parking. Nice LED tail lights as well. Rear backup camera is kind of hidden underneath. Stayed pretty well clean. Now, you can see we actually had an ice storm here in Iowa, so everything is pretty slick. Even the parking lot I'm in right now, covered in ice. We're still not actually out of the ice storm technically, but I gotta get this video done. So that's what the vehicle looks like. Let's do our front entrance and rear entrance, and then the trunk. Okay, front entrance. Now, the handles are actually solid. There's actually a button back here that you push when you squeeze, and we're in. Now, I love this red interior. Seats themselves, full power. So back and forward, right, up and down. And then we do have our lumbar control here as well. So I did want to show that real quick. And as you'll see here, we're going to go through this radio and equipment here in a minute. But this is a full digital dash, full large infotainment center, wireless charging, cup holders. Nice. So I'm going to put my foot on the brake so I can do this. But this little gear shifter, if you kind of see here, it tells you where to go. You pull it in and then back, gets you in drive, in puts you back in neutral, and then forward gets you in reverse. And park is just push this button in. Manual mode, if you just pull back, you can go into manual mode if you're in drive. So if you go into drive, you can go into manual mode, and now you have your shifting paddles up here that you can use. So I'm going to put it back in park. The one thing that I'm not a big fan of this is I don't like having to push this button to go in park. I don't know why, I just don't. I actually like the gear shifting mechanism. I have had a couple times where I was backing out and try to shift in and drive real quick, and it didn't quick shift and drive. I think it's just me getting used to it, to be honest, more than anything else. But all in all, very, very solid shifting mechanism. I wish there was just something else to do, maybe push down on it or something like that to put it in park, but at the same time, you don't really want it to be part of this for safety mechanism. So I'm sure it works fine. It's just more to get used to than anything else. It does have a panoramic roof. Right now it's covered in ice. And this part does open, the front section. Does have the whole home link built into the mirror. A lot of the nice features you would expect in a nice luxury vehicle. It does have a heads-up display, as you can see right there. This heads-up display is customizable. However, the really cool thing is something that I'm going to go into shortly with these controls on the steering wheel. So I'll do that when we actually go through all this. But that's the front section. Nice, comfortable, heated seats, chilled seats, also auto between the two if you want to just throw it on there. Heated steering wheel, auto, or you can choose between it. And of course, that'll be probably other stuff I'll go into as well. So let's jump in the back. Actually, before we exit, I'm going to show you the exiting way is not a door handle that you pull. It's this button you push with your thumb. It's actually perfectly placed, in my opinion. It is really easy to just kind of kick it and go. Okay, let's enter the back. Same thing with the door handle here. We enter in. Nice seats here, and let's pull this up so you can see better. Now back here, we do have a nice speaker location, easy access to the windows and door locks, as well as down here, we do have USB-C charging, as well as a 12-volt. I love that. I'm also not a big fan of these little doors. I never have been. But quick and easy access to your vent control and how much air you're going to get through that. Yeah, all in all, pretty solid. Also, let's pull the center one down. Standard cup holders here. Yeah, in all reality, this back seat, very plentiful. I'm right now the seat's set in my position. I still have, I would say 3 fingers between my knees and the seat. I'm not actually touching the seat. Very comfortable. Okay, let's open up the back. It is power liftgate once you push that button. And we have quite a bit of room. Now we're going to do our suitcase test here in a little bit to see how many we can get in here. I'm thinking probably 5. All 5 of my carry-ons will most likely fit back here. But while we're back here, you can see a nice big storage item back here, as well as underneath there, more storage. Lots of storage in this vehicle. That's my biggest takeaway, I think, so far. Let's jump into the Infotainment Center. Okay, let's go through the whole dash and from start to finish, kind of. So from the left, we kind of went through the door, but you do have all 4 windows, mirror controls. This is another thing that's a little bit funky. So when I start driving, if you can actually see the locks, see that little light? That lock mechanism means that no matter what, my passengers aren't going to be able to just pop the door open until I put it in park, or I physically push the unlock button right here. It's a little different to get used to that, and it's probably something you can turn off in the features, but it actually is nice to make sure that your passengers aren't going to be able to open their doors very easily without you wanting them to. Gas door, this is on the side to actually gas up your vehicle. That's the button to release the door, and then this is to open up the trunk from inside. We do have our odometer trip and light of the display here, and I think that's, we do have a little tray, a little cubby there for some storage of some things. Trunk release, or I'm sorry, front release to get to the engine. We'll do that here shortly. Now, the instrument cluster here is all digital and is customizable-ish. It's not going to be something that's as customizable as some of the other more modern vehicles out there from Mercedes or from Audi, where you can put maps and stuff in here. You're not going to be able to do that. I wish you could. I really wish that they would actually make this a full digital display, all continuous, that you could actually customize and do some really cool things with. I think that'd be fantastic to see in a future vehicle. This isn't their flagship model. I understand that. But I would like to see that on some of their bigger, nicer vehicles or higher end vehicles. But this one is digital. This is not an actual analog item there, and we can actually change some of those items. So before I can actually go into that, I have to talk to you about the steering wheel controls. These, as you can see, don't have names on them. You don't know what these do. Yeah, you can tell what volume up, volume down, but these are pages of some sort, and of course a directional item here. And then over here, another directional pad, another set of pages. Obviously this is for lane, and this is for your setting your speed control. But that's it, you don't really know. And that's actually on purpose. I think they actually did this on purpose so that they could actually customize these and change them. And you know, depending on what you need to do or what your vehicle has for features. What I'm gonna do here, I'm not gonna actually push any of these buttons in. I'm just gonna set my thumb on them. And you're gonna see here in a second what it does in my heads-up display. So I'm gonna get that to focus. I'm just gonna set my thumb on here, and you can see it comes up. So as I scroll across, I can see volume up, volume down. This is the next track, previous track. I can also do power on the audio, turn it on or off. This is the audio mode, so right now it's on Amazon Music. I can click on that, go to FM radio. I can change what I want it to do, right? And so I'm just gonna leave it on X just because there's nothing playing right now. If I release my thumb from that, it disappears. You don't see it anymore. Now let's bring it back up. I'll set my thumb on it. I can hit the pages, which is actually more. As you can see on the right hand side, it tells you what it is. So I'll hit more. Now we have more. We actually have voice command. We also have phone. We have still previous and next and the seat commands. Those obviously didn't change, but the upper and lower ones did. Now, same thing goes on the right side of the steering wheel. If I actually take my thumb and put it over here, we can actually see that we have the adaptive cruise control mode. Right now it's set to that. We actually have that lane tracing assistant, keeping the lane. That's turned on right now. I can turn that off. If I go to, or I should say go to these real quick. So HUD position. If I hit this, you'll see these bottom two up and down. It'll actually move the HUD placement if I want to actually adjust it in my line of sight where I like it better. I can do that. Now left and right does not change left and right. That is actually your meter controls on the actual instrument cluster. So if I go down here, and zoom back out, and I use that display left and right, I'm gonna actually change what I see here. So if I go right, I can see fuel indicator, music, what's going on right now. This is gonna be your boost gauge, I guess, and see how much boost you're getting out of the turbo. This is gonna be your G-force indicator. So as we start or stop, you can see which way the G-forces are going. Gear position, what gear we're actually currently in. Right now this one's blank, and then we come back to the average fuel economy. So not to go through crazy, but that's a lot of awesome technology that's in one little item, right? Now let's come back over here, see if there's anything else. We go to more. Now we actually have our following distance. We can change how close we'd like to follow the vehicle in front of us just by tapping it again. And then mode, this is driver assist mode. So right now I'm in the adaptive cruise control, or we can just go cruise control without the adaptive. You can choose which way you would like to do that. So that's all right here. That's all by doing these buttons that are just right here. But in order to see what they are, they're in the heads-up display. Pretty cool, pretty modern. I kind of like it. Now outside I had the headlights on. I can turn this to auto. I can do daytime running lights. I can choose the parking lights. I can change that all in here, as well as my fog lights. I can turn those off and on. That's with your left stick. You're turning, they're normal. One thing I actually had to locate was how to turn on the automatic high and low beams. That's actually a push button here on the left stick. I'm used to it being on a button over here, but it's actually on the stick. I actually like this placement better personally. Then over on the right side, that's where we actually have our windshield wiper, and we can choose from mist. We can go to auto mode, low or high. You can choose that, intermittent, off. Same with the rear. And then of course pull towards you to squirt some fluid on there to clean them off. And that brings us to the awesome, huge instrument cluster. And there are some really fantastic things that I like about this. First, actual volume dial. Right in the center here, that's going to control your volume. I'm going to turn it down just in case anything comes on. We actually have dials for the temperature controls. So right now I have it off. I'm going to put it on and just bring the fan down to 1 so we don't get interrupted. But the dial here to change your temperature setting. It's not all push button, it's a dial, and it's actually kind of on the screen, as you can see, for both the passenger and the driver. love this. I think that's fantastic. I also saw this when I was in the Ford Mach-E, the Mustang Mach-E, the electric vehicle. They actually have kind of this same similar setup. Awesome, works fantastic. For defroster on the front, it's literally a big push button that you can't miss. You kick on that and it's going to start defrosting, right? Blowing up front. I'm going to kick it to turn it back off. Also, this is going to be your rear defrost and mirror heated modes. So we can actually kick that on and melt off all the ice like I did earlier. Now, we may actually get a connection error. It's because I actually have my CarPlay turned off on my phone, even though it's trying to connect to it. And that's just because, well, when I'm in CarPlay mode, I can't seem to figure out how to get back out of it without literally turning CarPlay off on my phone. So it's a little weird in that regard. But this is the map, and the map is great, to be honest about it. Yeah, CarPlay connection error. So sorry about that. If that keeps popping up, that's my fault. This is a huge map here, and it works really good. Clean maps. We go to audio modes. Data subscription needed if you actually want to use Amazon Music. You can sign in. Right now, there is not a data subscription in this. I wish they would actually had that built in so we could actually do a full test on it. But this does have entertainment modes built in, so we can actually use data out of the vehicle rather than your phone to play music directly from internet sources like Apple Music, Amazon Music, stuff like that. So if we actually go to sources, we can choose. There, as you can see, Amazon and Apple Music are right there, as well as phones that are currently connected. My phone is obviously not listed right now because I have it turned off. That's it. Let's come back to calling. If I actually have my phone connected, which I might here shortly, but that would be for the calling portion of it. Vehicle, this is going to give you vehicle information, including your past miles per gallon for the last 15 minutes. I've been sitting here for a little bit, so it's pretty much zero, but range currently that you have in the vehicle based on the fuel tank and how long this current trip is 32 minutes long. So, yay. Yeah, 3 miles an hour average, because obviously it's been sitting a lot. But that said, and then you can go into history on days and see where your fuel economy was. Yeah, obviously, if you notice this dip or go up, you can try to correct the trend, or just maybe monitor if something's going on with your vehicle. That is what it is. Down below here we have our heated seats, our heated steering wheel. We can change that by just clicking on it. So right now we're going to do heated seats. Now let's go to cooled seats or heated seats. 3 is the max. Bring it down, turn it off if you just go to it being gray, and if you click it the first time, it's going to automatically go into auto. I like auto because it just goes by the climate and the current temperature is in the vehicle. If the vehicle needs to warm up, it's going to put a little bit of heated seats. Of course, once it warms up, it cools down how much heat it's putting out automatically without you having to adjust it constantly. Same with the heated steering wheel. You only heat the steering wheel when it needs to. You can do that. There's 2 heat settings, or off, right? And I like auto, especially during the winter. It's fantastic. And it stays, no matter what you have this set to, it's going to keep it that. So like my daughter was in here last, she had it on heated seats. It's on heated seats, period. You can sync temperatures between the different zones and have it one, or unsync and have 2 separate temperatures. That's up to you. If we click on the climate button here, we can actually change some of the modes within it. Climate concierge, auto adjust comfort automatically without you having to worry about it. De-icer, everything right there. So I'm going to close that, and then we're going to get this. This is going to give you more information, or more, I guess, frequently used items. You can choose between full mode like I had, and I'll show you what standard mode looks like. So this is full mode. This is standard mode. Not as much information. Full mode is using more of the display, essentially. And then you can change max heat, max cool, or silent if you just want it to be quiet completely. So all there. And then down below that, we have our auto. If we click auto, it's just going to make sure that it's going to adjust the fan automatically depending on what it needs to be to keep your temperature where it needs to be. Or you can adjust it manually, turn recirculating on or air conditioning on. Pretty awesome. That's a fast go through of everything that's in this awesome entertainment system, but that is where I'm going to start. This does have the Mark Levinson audio package, which sounds fantastic. It's great. The bass is great. It just sounds great. I love the Mark Levinson stuff. Now, let's come down below here. pick it up here and talk about this. So we do have a USB-C charging. This is USB-A. This is going to actually for connection to the actual display if you're going to use wired CarPlay or wired Android Auto. This does support wireless, like I said, or you can do an MP3 player or something you can plug through that. Qi charger, that actually does kind of go away to get access to, if you can see down in there, there is a 12-volt power plug. Now, and this is going to be one of those things that I don't like. Again, this Qi charger does work with the MagSafe iPhone, but if you have a MagSafe case on your iPhone, it does not like it. It will sit and charge and then start going crazy. Let's turn that off so you can watch that light. You'll see here in a minute. It'll start blinking because of the fact that it's not charging. Now, while we're waiting for that, cup holders here, we did go through that. We did not go through this automatic start stop. This does have that capability. You can turn that off here. You have the hold function, so it'll hold the brake for you while you're on a hill. Does have your traction control off here. A lot of nice features, to be honest. It's just a great vehicle. And then in the right here, nice large cubby, no power in here. So that's one thing that I do wish that they did have additional power in here. Not a big, I guess, killer, but it does have that. And then we're coming back to the iPhone because, oh, it started blinking and then it just went off. So it's a constant battle to get this to stay connected. But if I do say this, if I take the case off and just do the MagSafe iPhone with no case, no MagSafe case, it does work. But I love MagSafe, so I'm not going to do that. That's something that I think Toyota has to worry about in Lexus, obviously, with it, because that's something that needs to get fixed. It shouldn't be doing that anymore, but that is what it is. Last item here, actually, I think this is a really good placement for the driving mode. We can go between Eco and Sport mode, and it'll tell you not only here, right, you can see kind of which mode you're going in. Push the button for normal. It'll also tell you on the display. Sorry about that. Eco mode, I can go to right. It'll tell you Sport mode or normal mode, and it just wasn't saying anything. So that is a quick go, I think, on most of the items in here. I'm sure I missed a few. I wanted to show you from the startup how this wireless CarPlay thing works. And first, I did want to show the nice fingerprints you get with a nice big touch panel, but that does just, you don't see that too much when you start it up here. So we'll start the vehicle up. Alright. Obey traffic laws. So obviously it starts up into full screen normal mode. And I'm just using guest mode, so I don't have any preemptive settings saved. CarPlay is available. So I did want to turn that off at least. But if you can see in the top left corner, CarPlay is available here. Now, a lot of times when I start up, it'll go right into CarPlay because that's what I had last was full screen CarPlay mode. So let's go into CarPlay mode. And you can see there's CarPlay mode. It shows you all the stuff that's going on, all the stuff that you have available. And you can scroll through your apps that you have on your phone that are CarPlay oriented or have a CarPlay experience available to them. To get back, you just click on the Lexus sign and you get back to the Lexus radio, which then you can use the standard radio functions. Obviously in here, Now Playing will take you into whatever music you're playing currently. You can go to the music library, you can go to your phone, you can pull up maps and use Apple Maps instead of the built-in maps that this vehicle does come with. However, this will also work with Android Auto as well, and wireless Android Auto. And that's the big thing, wireless. Wireless makes the experience so much better because I don't have to get the phone out of my pocket every time I want this full integrated experience. Now, having a vehicle like this one, specifically new, the maps are up to date, and this does have over-the-air updates and everything. I'll probably use the integrated maps more frequently than I'll even use my CarPlay maps, but I do have 2 maps now available because I have both. The other nice thing is being able to control my phone and actually going through like for instance, going into music here and actually being able to see my library. I can hear, I can browse for new artists, everything through this rather than getting out my phone to do it, right? So quick and easy access items, that's the big thing about this, and having it wireless, all the better. And of course it utilizes the full, you know what, 2/3 of the display that you have, with still giving you your climate control down here. Now you bring up your climate just like normal, you bring up the additional options, everything is still down here, part of the touch panel, and then your CarPlay experience above. Fantastically done. Now the other thing I will say is, and I may actually say it, is when I first started using this, I couldn't figure out how to get back to this Lexus menu. I don't know why I didn't even think about the Lexus app, because I've had this on my phone now for a little bit, because every other vehicle I've ever actually had with CarPlay, there was physical buttons associated with it that you could get back to home. So on this vehicle, because there are no physical buttons anymore, you're using the app here. So I just wanted to show you that. CarPlay is quite the experience, and the nice thing is I don't have to take my phone out of my pocket. That's the best part. Before we finish it, everyone wanted to go into the engine compartment just to show you it at least. That way you can see where it is. How easy it is to access the battery. Easy. Pretty easy. It's not right on the edge. A little bit further in. Still easy to get to. There's that turbo engine. Very nice. So before I end, I did want to read off a couple of things. Now this is a pre-production vehicle, so doesn't really have an MSRP, a true MSRP, what it's going to actually go for, but it's going to sit around $53,300. That's where it's sitting. Exterior color on this one is called Caviar. This is the Roja Red interior. 2.4 liter turbo i4. Max 275 horsepower at 6,600 RPM. Max torque is 317 pound-feet of torque. It does have an 8-speed transmission. And then they're thinking this is going to sit around 25 miles per hour combined. So 22 in the city, 29 on the highway, which essentially is basically what I'm getting. So they have that one actually, I think, dialed in pretty good. 0 to 60 in 6.8. A little low, but at the same time for an i4, it's not bad at all. Gone through most of the stuff that we're seeing here, but yeah. Okay, let's put some luggage in the trunk. Quick and simple. Appears to me as though, yes, we can get 5 in there, plus some extra baggage as well. Let's find out if she closes. Yes, fully closes, good to go with 5. One other thing I did not mention before is that when you go into reverse or drive mode, the mirrors do change. So right now, I'm going to put it in reverse. They actually, both the driver's and the passenger side mirror come in and down, so you can see more of what's behind you. And then when you go back to drive, they automatically angle back out. Pretty awesome. Also, I did want to show you what the cameras look like. So let's go into reverse. So in this case, you can see the rear camera there backing up, but also the 360-degree view around. This is pretty cool. You can even see how, as I turn the wheels, what angle the wheels are at. So you can kind of see where we're going. Oh, sorry about that. They're going to put the lines, I'm going to hit that vehicle right there if I go too far. So it just works really cool. And then of course, they actually track objects. So like, let me, maybe I can set my camera up and I can show you what I mean by it tracks objects. Let me, I can't do that with me in here. But it does track, if people were back there, the same thing that we're seeing those 2 items there. If somebody was to stand here, it would actually start pinging that too. And then of course, as you back up, you get into the heavier region there, and it'll start beeping at you more. Right? I'll put it in drive and get back out of that. Also, it will apply the brake if it feels like you're going to hit something. So that's happened to me a couple times, but I haven't actually almost hit something. It's just backing in the garage, things get a little tight. So that's that. So that is the 2022 NX 350. Engine noise. Not too bad. It's a quiet vehicle, to be honest about it. It has, like any turbo, just a little bit of lag on it. Nothing too crazy at all, but it has a lot of giddy up, to be honest, for what it is. For the size of the engine it has, it's got a little bit of giddy up forward to it. All in all, I really like this vehicle. There are, you know, anytime I get a vehicle in that I feel like it definitely sits true, at least, to where it should sit, I really enjoy that. Now, this one, I was drastically looking forward to be honest about it. And then when I actually sat in one at the Chicago Auto Show and kind of went through it with one of the Lexus representatives there, it was one that went really high on my list to see. And so I'm happy, I'm really happy I got to drive one of these for a week. It is definitely on my top 2 vehicles I've driven yet. Because it drives good, it's got a good amount of space to it, it's comfortable, it's quiet, relatively quiet, and it's got all this technology. And I love technology, specifically if it makes my life easier. I love wireless CarPlay, I'll give you that. It is fantastic. That said, guys, thank you for watching the video. Thanks for sticking by to the end, and I cannot wait to show you guys the next one. So, as always, I appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you back here again. Take care.